Got it. Got it. And got it. Oh, this one right here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's interesting the way summer's going. 9:28, nobody's in this room. 9:30, boom, it all explodes everywhere. So I can't talk. Welcome, Rachel.
Welcome, Mike.
I've had a donut and 2 things of Mountain Dew. I'm wired up. This is a good day already. So this is where we always try to meet and greet new people. But first,
we want to introduce a new member of our leadership team, Jimena Martinez. If you want to stand up really quick. Jimena has joined our onboard agent services and helping Christine in all things transactions. Jimena is also bilingual, so if you ever have any clients, she can definitely help and assist with that. We actually needed her help yesterday translating when we had somebody walk in. They thought it was an insurance company. So perfect. So she will be in our office. So if you haven't met her, go by and say hi, and she'd be happy to meet y'all.
so how many, go ahead, applause for her. Is Onward running right now?
Do I really want to say it? 90, 95.
95 contracts. So it is running and it is exploding. It's going great. So,
We really need Jimena.
yes. So be nice to her. So you got 1 minute to meet somebody new. So you'll have you can meet Jimena or get her later. If you're online, send a direct message. If you're at one of our satellite locations, meet somebody new. 1 minute, timer starts now.
I do.
Nick, nice to meet you. Wrong time. Nick and Drew. Thank you, guys.
All right. You're preparing yourself. You're setting up your foundation. You're setting up your foundation.
All right, simmer down. Good morning, Zoomies. Yay. All right, before we get into, well, actually, let me get the technology to work. Okay, every week we talk about, you want to do coaching update first before we do this?
We can do it right before filter.
Okay, so every week we talk about either our MVV, VRP, our mission, our vision, our values, our beliefs, or our perspective. This week it's our mission, which is?
Build careers worth having, lives worth living, legacies worth living, experiences worth giving, and a business is worth owning.
The business would be important.
Yep.
How many of you want to do real estate just to barely make it? No, okay, way to go, Wes. How many want to have no life outside of just selling, buying all day? No, we're in this to build a bigger life, and that is our goal. It's not to have a job, it's to have a career and a life worth sharing everywhere. So before we do our culture.
Yep, Shan, do you want to come up and give an update on how Ignite's going? Yeah. Ignite or the other thing? Both, you can do both. Both things?
Yep. Hi, friends. Okay, so we are wrapping up Ignite. Raise your hand if you're in Ignite. Do you love it?
Yes.
Oh, it's so great, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so we are wrapping it up. It has been really great content, really great instructors, better accountability than we've had in a while. Like, it's just really awesome. And it's not too late if you still want to come and catch some of the last classes we're working on. Today is Win the Buyer and the Seller. So it'd be a really great one to attend at noon today. Anybody is welcome to come check it out.
Any coaching updates? Here, get in the middle so people can see the camera. Go ahead.
Hi,
Any
Cameron.
coaching updates?
We're killing it as always. We've got about 65 people in the program. Raise your hand if you're in group coaching. Woo! Do you love it? Yeah, you do. Okay, awesome.
Okay,
Great.
think about 65 people. That is bigger than most brokerages. That is the biggest team in our whole market center.
Yeah.
Big thanks. We have a lot of fun, and I'm really proud of all of you guys that are in group coaching, and they're producing, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tons of production. So in other words, they're not just getting into real estate and just waiting 60 to 90 to 100 to 1,200 days to get a contract,
That's
which
a lot
I've
of days.
seen. They're getting in and getting their career started right away.
That's a lot of
So-
days on market.
Yeah, while you're 1,200 days on market,
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
we're gonna have you help announce the culture winner.
Okay,
So
ready?
Corey Jet was it last week, and now it is TBD.
Oh.
Stop it. No.
Here.
Our culture winner this week is Shanna.
Shanna is an amazing leader. She not only pushes you and goes above and beyond to provide help, but she also maintains a consistently positive and fun attitude. This positivity and sense of fun contributes to our KW atmosphere, fostering creativity, collaboration, and a sense of camaraderie among our team. Having a leader who brings joy and positivity into the workplace makes a significant difference in everyone's overall experience and productivity.
So congratulations to Shanna. You deserve it. Updates. Oh,
Oh, no, we're
Oh,
asleep.
good. I think maybe she got her testing thing figured out. Another person getting ready to join us. Yay! Okay, another culture thing. This will have a little negative look to it at first, but this is why I want to put it here. NAR membership is down 30,251 agents this year. Okay. 60,000 agents have left the industry in 2023. I saw this from a different post. This is from someone else that I saw. That's one agent every 4 minutes. It seems like, and this is from a Keller Williams agent up in Kansas City that posted this. It seems like easy money. The fact is it's not. It's hard work and you have to work in your business every minute of the day, including nights and weekends. This isn't 2020 to 2022 anymore. The reason I put this in culture, we're not going to participate in letting our agents getting out of the business. We're here to help you stay in it. And we want to, so we need to know if there's somebody having struggles, we want to know as a leadership team. We want to be able to help them. We want to be able to find out what we can do to help from financial side, from business, from family, any of it. So that's why I put it here, because this is not a business, this is a family. So we're here to help you. Please keep your eyes and ears open for anybody that might need help. Also, remember the Leadership Academy last year started a thing with Burl Health. Agents can get up to, I think it's 5 free visits. So if you're needing help with anything, because this job can lead you to things, like this just isn't Mountain Dew up here. So, but anyway, that's why I want to add this in culture. We're here for you all. If there's any way we can help, always reach out. That's what your leadership team is here for. We work for you, not the other way around. It's a totally different place from anywhere else I've seen. Okay, on to our vendors.
Vendor guide.
Who do we have here?
There we go. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey everyone, hey, I'm Alex Gossas. I'm with Community Mortgage Brokers, platinum partner of this Keller Williams branch. Really cool. We have a brand new 1% down conventional loan program. Does not apply to, it applies to all first-time home buyers, non-first-time home buyers, but if you have any questions on a 1% down conventional, kind of counteracts that USDA loan outside of Springfield, you can buy it anywhere. So any questions, come talk to me after.
Thank you. Adam.
Adam McGrath with Comparion Insurance Agency. We're a full service insurance brokerage, help people with home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. And just one quick thing, real quick, the insurance world is getting really strict lately. So it's like it's more important than ever to work with someone who has access to lots of different companies. I don't think Jess is here, but her and I both can work with lots of different insurance companies. So let us know if we can help you.
And congratulations on just being recognized. You just came back from a trip.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
Yeah,
Thank you.
awesome. Christina, I'm sorry. I'm skimming and
It's okay. I'm easy to miss. Hi, I'm Christina
No.
Ferrante with 417 Help Loans, and I'm your lending lady for life.
Awesome.
And on this side.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Great American Title, just a reminder, we're having our charity fundraiser for the kitchen, July 31st. And we're looking for teams. Now, Keller Williams has some teams going, Joplin and Osage Beach, and Healthy Competition is starting.
Golf tournament, correct?
Golf
Okay.
tournament. So it's a scramble, charity fundraiser on July 31st at Millwood. So if you're interested, come see Christy or I, and let's get some more competition going. There will be a prize. There will be a special KW prize if we get 2 more KW teams.
Very cool.
And in July, we will also have a title commitment class taught by Great American Title. We've had a lot of feedback of diving deeper into a title commitment. So on the calendar, that will be on for July.
Yeah, so last week with Megan Crisson here, she talked about how to, that we should all know how to read a title commitment. How many of you know every little bit of it? I don't. This class is going to help you know how to look at that so you're prepared for your clients better.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the line? Nope, okay. Broker moment. What do we, oh, they're both right here sitting together.
Uh-oh, they're both here.
My comment after my last week would be, please educate your clients on how the contract and your employment agreement actually work. So they don't go work with someone else, so they don't think they can just leave the contract. So they understand that they've only got 10 or 15 days to get the inspection in. Stuff that seems simple to you guys, they don't know. And it's been a real bite the last week with a lot of folks. So educate your clients going in so we're not dealing with this on the way back out.
Much easier to fix it ahead of time.
Well, time is of the essence, is in the contract, and you need to stop right there and explain what that means to your clients, earnest money, inspections, even though you may be making the calls on the inspections, appraisal. You don't cancel your appraisal and wait until the inspection's done, because that's a default issue in the contract if you do that. And I've had agents call me, say, well, we're just gonna wait. Hell, you are. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, that's a default right there. You're not following the terms and conditions. The other thing, just a quick mention on a conversation we had last week. When you write a contract, in the first page, you've got your concessions, right? If you have concessions. I have one last week, and I struggle with it because I don't teach it that way and I don't necessarily believe it. Offers $310 with $5,000 in concessions. Counters $320 with $5,000 in concessions. Then the agent in his counter, the other agent counters and just puts in there $313. And then we counter and go, no, $320 with 5,000 concessions. And then he counters back $317. We counter back $319. He counters back final. The last counter is just a single page counter. And the only thing it has on there is $319,000. Are the concessions still there?
No.
Yeah, they
Yes,
are.
they are.
No.
They have not been removed.
But
Confused us, Jim.
I don't believe in that. And I don't teach it that way. You can do it whatever way you want to, because the contract is supposed to carry through all the way through, unless you've changed it or eliminated it. The problem is if you have, like, we had 6 counters total on this. If you have 6 counters, and one says concessions, the next one says no concessions, one says concessions, the next one says no concessions. Does your seller believe when he signs that final document with no concessions, the concessions are still there? So what I've always taught and said is, look, err on the side of caution, right? Put the concessions back in there. And I had a conversation with a broker at another company. He goes, that's stupid. I'm like, well, we're going to continue to be stupid as long as I'm teaching it. Don can teach it whatever way he
I
wants.
say the same thing. Yeah, write everything
Yeah.
down so there's no discrepancy about what our expectations are.
Yeah.
What if in the first offer too is a real good example is seller to replace the roof at a cost not to exceed $25,000. And you have 6 counters and you never see it again. Does the seller think it's still there? I'm not sure they do. I think it's best to repeat those items that are outside of the normal language of the contract. So you can do it whatever you want to, but that's not the way I'm gonna teach it.
Sounds good. Always err on making sure everybody understands everything. That's the best way. All right, our calendar, we're almost at the end of June, which has been incredible.
Yeah.
Look at all the classes we've got going on. We're finishing up Ignite, like Shannon was saying. And today is the last of our professional series, which has been a big hit. We've had different specialists each week. So we're gonna be doing that through July and August also. We're changing it to Summer of Success. I
Summer
think
of
that's it.
Success, yeah.
Haley's making up a flyer for it, but we're gonna have a different guest or featured item each week of team meeting to help give you different perspectives on things. Here is the next calendar.
I also want to point out Thursday is admin mastermind
Oh,
for
that's-
all of you admins. Would love to have you. We will be upstairs back in the Grady conference room. Everyone liked it from last time.
And
so.
Josh's top 20 mastermind. Of course, we got a slide on that too. So here's July. You can see our list of people that have joined us for the month. Yay. And you see all the different stuff going on. Market Center is closed on July 4th, which is next Tuesday. There's no team meeting next week. Please come back with all your fingers, okay? Don't blow anything off. And you see the end of Ignite there and the Ignite graduation. Okay, so on the 13th, I'm doing a class on Flex MLS Mastermind. It's gonna be partially how I do CMAs. It's how to find the map in there. You know, you can take, like, if somebody wants to see, my record was 24 houses in one day. You can map it in Flex and it'll show them all in order and print it out for you. So that's something you can
Is
use
that when
there.
we're gonna do the CMA survey before then?
Maybe before that. Oh, that'd be good to put into that. So we got that also. In other words, there's a lot of stuff coming in July to help you get ahead of everybody else.
One thing to mention, July 19th, it's in red right here, your Path to Wealth workshop. Her name is Clarissa Skinner. She's actually flying in. She's part of KW Wealth as a community, the new community that was launched with Brett Tanner. They are flying in to teach a half-day class here about building wealth. We're looking at potentially bringing it off-site because of the amount of people. We have an Eventbrite link that we'll put in the chat. But we would love for all of you to attend, and then we'll do a happy hour afterwards. So 1 to 5 KW Wealth.
And it's not just KW people.
No, anybody can come. It's all about building wealth.
If you know anybody that wants to build wealth, if you know agents that other places want to build wealth, invite them to this. Also, do not call people you're not supposed to, do not get sued. Save the dates. Here's some of the fun stuff coming up. Is Paulina in here?
I don't see her. I think she's online, but I don't know if she's
Okay.
able to.
So book club is still gonna be, so we kind of realized team meetings are now going from 9:30 to 10:30. I always try to keep it to 10:15, but we were cramming everything in, so just plan on being until 10:30-ish. Then we'll have book club, and then we'll typically have a class at 11. So Tuesday mornings can just be all of your educational stuff put together there. But the book club will be meeting after team meeting today. Tomorrow is Josh's top 20% mastermind. Is he down here?
He's not. And
Okay.
then in July, we'll be going off-site for the next one.
Yeah, that's the big one that you were just telling about. Okay, we got some cool news. In fact, Dan, you want to come up? Yes. Come up here for a second. Okay, how many of you have done gold before? Okay,
You wore a purple shirt.
that was on purpose. We have some incredible news about bold and what's coming up. And Dan, you want to share some on it?
Here, come in the middle.
Oh, sure. This is unprompted.
I know.
Can I sit down?
You don't,
Is
no,
that
you don't have
can I
to
be
sit. It's
interviewed?
not a
No.
long speech. It's just a.
Let me sit for a while. We're gonna hear.
Okay.
So I had the unique opportunity of working through Jen, as many of you know, she's the VP of MAPS now. And part of that, her responsibilities is she oversees Bold.
Like across the whole continent?
Yeah. All the Bold coaches, all the Bold instructors, everything, et cetera. So in that, I said, you know, has anybody been to a Bowl that's been fantastic? Has anyone been one that's okay? Yeah, that's fair, because people are people. So I went to her and I said, you know, I'm gonna pull some strings. We want the absolute, what? Okay, hurry, go.
Well,
Oh,
that too, but
Yeah.
how can we use your influence to bring somebody amazing to Springfield?
Yeah, so we absolutely, I've never said this before and I'm saying this now. We have absolutely the best top bowl coach in the country coming to Springfield, Missouri.
She's teaching this year.
Oh, that's the best part. She has taken a year off. They have a requirement to do X amount of bowls per year. She has taken the year off because of some family complications and surgeries and et cetera. So she's taking a whole year off. This is the only bowl she's doing this year is for, in all fairness, for Jen. I'll just say for us.
Yeah.
Our goal is to get 150 people at that bowl. That will be.
It's not a goal, it's an expectation.
It's expectation. She will not come if we don't get 150 people. She's absolutely the best bowl coach in the entire country, hands down. There's not a number 2 that I know of. It is Molly. Molly's it. If you don't go this time, this will be absolutely the most incredible experience as far as bold goes, maybe as far as anything goes, surpassing having children and that kind of stuff.
And Molly,
I've got 3, trust me. Molly's great.
Molly also oversees K-Score. So she is the dean of K-Score, overseeing all of that. So she has a lot of great insight, bringing that in. And they rewrote Bold this year. Jen was part of it. Mark King was a part of it, and they rewrote the entire curriculum. And this will be the first launch.
Yep, this is the first content. She is money. She is fire. She's money. She's money, and we'll, yeah.
Why are you so passionate about bold?
Bowl was the first class that I took. The first time I took it was with Pat Mancuso. It was over 10 years ago. I was probably 3 years in the business at the time. I signed up for MAPS at the same time. It was one of the best bowls we had ever had. Was anybody here when Pat Mancuso was here?
I did in Texas with Pat.
You did?
Yeah.
You did it with Pat?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And since then, kind of it's okay. Molly will kick him in the teeth as far as presentation and level of engagement and involvement and what you'll get from it. So if you've ever been to bowl before, you're like, yeah, I've done it. It's fine. Trust me, you haven't done it this way.
So the first day is August 22nd. It will all be off-site at Relics. And then since this is our own schedule, normally we start the first one, we take a week off and then we get back into it. Because of this, it's condensed and we're not taking a week off. So it's the week after Mega Camp, and that will start at 10 a.m. We're doing a late start because that is Springfield Public Schools' first day of school. So we're trying to respect that. And Mike came up with a great idea.
So your kids are going back to school, it's time for you to go back to school too.
Yep.
So you drop them off, you get those pictures, you take your picture for first day of bowl, and you come join us.
So get signed up and registered, step one, and then we have the full bold option. Like in previous years, we have had like a payment plan option, that way you're not forking out $7.99 at one time. So if you are interested in there for that, here is how we broke it out. If this is your first time attending bold, we do have an option where you only have to pay half, but there is some, you know, Nicole and I wrote this. You have to have 201 new contacts entered during bold in order for part of it to be forgiven. Bold 100, you have to have a closing and you have to graduate bold too. So if you're interested in any of that, we have this up front or here and upstairs too.
Can I pause for a second? Why those expectations and et cetera, those things you just named, why would that be part of this?
Well, because it helps into their business.
Bingo. So this is really about you, not about this. I'm standing here and
You're sitting here.
I'm standing here, right hand saying, I promise has anybody ever heard me say this about bowl before in Springfield, Missouri? I promise you this by far will be the best experience you've ever had. This is the best bowl instructor.
How many from your team are gonna be in bold?
I've already signed up 12.
Wow.
So.
Thanks for pointing that out.
You can learn math in bold as well.
It's officially launched today. We've already got 32 people committed.
And there's 6 steps.
But this is also opening up from Springfield, Branson, Lake of the Ozarks, and Joplin as well. So to get the 150.
It's gonna be incredible. And so I'm glad you're in here so we can talk about it. I'm glad you wore purple.
That was on purpose.
Yeah, okay, so we talk a lot about all the different trainings we have here. And somebody one time was like, there's too much stuff going on. So I'm bringing this out again. This is my notebook from the last place I was at. And here was our weekly team meeting notes. Okay, so let me find. Oh, here's July 4th of whatever year this was. Training for the week, Thursday. Oh, no training, that was 4th of July. Let me try another. Training for the week, Tuesday, 9 a.m. What do you need? Tuesday, 10 a.m. What are your numbers? That was the only teaching for the entire week. I will never apologize for us having too many classes for you. So get into bold. You're gonna see them on Mega Camp in a second. And I've heard people say, there's too much, okay? What if you go to Orange Leaf and you only had one topping for your ice cream?
Not
Okay,
enough.
no, you got all these to choose from, but nobody told you to eat all of them. It's like a buffet. If you go to Golden Corral and you try and eat everything, that's ridiculous.
Well, there's no try for that.
There's no. That's right. We have a buffet of training. You don't eat it all at once, but it's all there for when you need it, okay? All right, off my preaching there.
Okay.
But as a past educator, and Sam's an educator, there's 100 educators in here. You should have seen how many were on the growth call from the leadership yesterday. We believe in teaching and giving you so many tools and resources that you can grow this to whatever size you want. Haley's a teacher. She's on my team. I should remember that. So that's, okay, enough of that.
Okay.
But you don't have to eat it all at once, but you got to go to the buffet.
Buffets are the way of life.
I need more Mountain Dew.
Okay, next slide, I'll tell them.
You don't have to, it'll
A
play.
video.
Dance time.
You guys still can never match it.
I know.
Never
Okay,
match it.
so Mega Camp's coming. So you could go to Mega Camp and then the next week starts bowl. You can get everything going to where you, remember that stat in the beginning? How many people are getting out of the market? You're gonna have a chance to take market share, but you gotta take advantage of the stuff that Keller Williams offers. And I'm out of breath.
Okay, so Mega Camp, August 15th and 16th. If you fly in on the 14th, there will be a CEO mastermind. They haven't released those tickets yet. Full day on Tuesday, full day on Wednesday. If you're going to Mega Camp, I encourage you to stay the full day on Wednesday. Why? Well, there are 4 very important votes that the IALC is voting on this year. First time since I've ever been here, and this is a huge thing. Some of them around profit share, some of them around a market center thing. And so that will happen Wednesday evening. Once we have more information from the region, we will actually be talking more about it at the market center level. So if you want to go, this will be a very historical vote to be a part of that you can witness, and how an ALC at an international level operates as well.
And who's the guest they'll get to see?
Tim Tebow.
Yes.
So for the Mastery Client event, Tim Tebow will be there speaking. If you're not a MAPS client, there are guest passes available. And I believe they're opening it up a lot
did.
larger for more people to attend. So very exciting for Tim Tebow.
Okay, so take advantage of both these things. If you can't do both, choose one of them, but do something to make yourself better. All right, internet world. Nicole, what do you have for tech time for us?
Internet world.
Yes, hello, happy Tuesday. So I have a technology survey. What?
I'm just a little wired
A
today.
lot of energy.
Too much, take it away. So I actually have a survey that I want to send out to you guys to see where you are all at in your technology journey. Like I said, I do schedule consults. I teach 3 or 4 classes a month. I'm not good at math. But I always want to make sure that we are here to help you use the technology that KW has for you to excel, build, grow your businesses. So I'm going to send the survey out in the chat. I'm going to put it on Facebook again today. But this is just to see where everyone's at, because I'm here to help. Our whole team is here to help. And this technology is definitely what can propel your business from one place to another. So I'm a little nervous today. Okay. Thank you.
That's good. Thanks.
Maybe we need to do one of those tech days again. What do we call it? Database days, but
Yeah.
we break down different techs. Maybe we need to do
Yeah,
that.
love
Yeah.
that. We can do it in end of summer. Let's get ready for bold.
All right,
Oh, she's
okay,
the best
thank you very
cheerleader.
much. All right, right above us is not, well, everybody's looking at the ceiling. No, the next floor above is what is now called the command center. You know, the command, KW command, okay? But this is an open area, and you can see sort of the doorway going in. If you're needing a desk to rent, not a whole office, but just a desk, there are spots available here. There's also some gathering workspaces that's kind of being used for different times. There are also some individual offices available here. So just want to make sure everybody knew that those things are there. And it's right above us. It's called the command center. I thought that was kind of fun. All right, realtor stuff. You get these every Sunday night. I'm not going to go spend a lot of time on this, but if you're going for leadership, you got to have it in this Friday. That's the deadline for the leadership forums. Continuing ed, July 14th. Get ahead on that, although it's not till 2 years ago. Another golf tournament. There are golf tournaments everywhere.
A lot of them.
And numbers, okay? So it's looking similar. Well, actually, listings went up in every region last week, from last week to this week. I'm expecting them to drop drastically over this weekend because everybody's going to be out, you know, at the lake and barbecue and all that kind of stuff. The big thing to look at is compared to last year. Okay, so GSBOR, last year we had 265 new listings this week. I'm sorry, this year we did. Last year, 367, 102 more. You're still seeing the market contract and less things coming available. And what's weird is there's still multiple offers going on. It makes no sense. We've got both sides of the thing going on at once. And the numbers are just all over the place every week, depending on what goes on there. We are up to 1,138 active listings as of Monday. So that was our highest since
2019.
well, January of this year, but
Oh,
yeah,
got it.
going the other way, yeah. So we're even higher than last year on number of available listings for this week. So the numbers are there. If you have, the most important thing is to have the info, so when you're talking with a buyer or a seller, you can be the person of, the economist of choice. My
Give
brain-
them perspective on what's happening.
Exactly. It's all just, it is what it is. You gotta be the one that tells them and lets them know what's going on with it. Okay, a lot of stuff we got through. Now it's time for the main event.
Oh, okay.
All right, so today
Okay.
we have every week what is this, June? We've had a different professional series in. Today we've got 3 appraisers that have joined us. And ladies, if y'all can come on up here, let's give them a round of applause. And I'll give introduce them to here in a second. And Rachel, can you get rid of the screen share on it? And we'll just go to see them. Come on out. How are you all?
Good, how are you?
Welcome to our Insanity.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'm gonna introduce our people real quick. Right here next to me, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
This is Destiny Raw. Is that how I say your last name?
Rao.
Rao, I'm so close. She's the owner of First Choice Appraisal. She's been in 20 years, worked at Remax with John Heights a ways back, studied under Pam Long. And all three of these are you're all three part of the appraiser panel with the board. And so they're in tune with everything going on. And that's the goal of today, is to help you know how it looks from an appraiser side, so you can better price things and that kind of stuff too. Other things on Destiny, she started First Choice Appraisal in 2013, basically covers Greene, Christian, and Webster County, part of the appraiser committee from 2022. Next to her is Angela, there. I gotta get my papers all in order. She's been in the business for 23 years, doing conventional FHA and USDA appraisals. Beyond the world of appraiser, she's an avid St. Louis Cardinals fan. Yes. And several other sports teams, like which ones?
Oh, well, Cowboys, Chiefs.
Oh my gosh.
Cowboys.
All right, I love it.
We're big sports fans.
Very cool. Have you seen my office upstairs?
Not yet.
Okay, it's Bobblehead City up there.
I need to see it.
You'll have to see it. And then next to her is not Todd Reed. Todd was gonna join us, but instead we got somebody better.
That's right. That's right.
So Mindy, I've forgotten your last name.
Nielsen?
Oh, because I'm looking on the paper. Gracious, you'd think I'd be prepared. There you are. You started appraising in 2003. So you all have been through the last crazy time. You've been with Total Home Analysis since April 2015. You've had your own business before the market crash and decided to close it. Whether you were a mortgage loan processor for 8 years, and what's a DU and an LP?
Well, I don't know if it still exists, but back in the day,
Uh-huh.
they had DU and LP approval status, so before it went to the underwriter.
Oh, got it, okay.
Processors underwrote it and kind of found the problems and
Very cool.
They
Okay.
still have it.
then, do they? Okay.
I'm gonna hop on this side, so I'm not stuck behind the table. So basically, I send them some questions of things that I know we come across a lot, and we'll have a question and answer time towards the end, but they cannot answer, well, in this appraisal I had, something was wrong. They can't talk specifics. They can't, without seeing the details. We'd be here for hours, okay? And there's nothing they could tell you because they can't comment on an appraisal without looking at it, and they wouldn't anyway then. So I went to the main things that I see that we run into a lot. And the first one is the big change from the last year with the ANSI 2 standards. And I don't care who does what answer, or we can bounce back and forth, but can you kind of explain what ANSI 2 is and how it's changed the way square footage is measured?
Okay, well, I'm not sure where you're getting the 2 on ANSI.
I don't know.
It's not, just,
We've
just
just
ANSI.
refer
ANSI.
it by ANSI.
Okay,
Uh-huh. And in April of 2022 is when Fannie Mae said that appraisers have to measure to ANSI standards. So what that changed was, first of all, appraisers have to measure a home to the nearest inch or 1/10 of a foot. So a lot of appraisers before that were rounding. We measure to the nearest quarter foot, half foot, foot. The other big change there is regarding ceiling height. So if you have an area like a bonus room, 50% of that area has to be at least 7 feet for us to count that in the gross living area. And then we only measure to the 5-foot ceiling height. Anything below 5 feet, we don't count at all. Now, if that area has a 6-foot ceiling, it's not going to be 50% over that 7-foot mark. We can still include that on the appraisal. We just can't include it in the gross living area. It has to go somewhere else on the report and be valued separately.
so a house that could have been more of a finished square footage before has not lost square footage. It's just labeled differently.
It's labeled differently.
And
Okay.
you adjust a little bit different for the ceiling height below 7 foot. At least I do typically. I think most people typically adjust a little bit different. Yeah, it does.
Okay, so a lot of times I guess this comes like on an attic that's been converted or over a garage where there's a sloped roof. So that whole room then can't be counted as gross living area. Like if it comes down to the side, you've got to start where the 5 foot is. And from there over, it counts.
Is it 50% of the linear footage?
Which is 50% of the total.
Oh,
The
the
area.
square,
Mhm.
okay.
And it
Gotcha.
happens a lot on older homes too, like in Springfield, the older homes that are that have second stories. A lot of those houses do not have 7-foot ceiling heights. I've run into it a lot on the older homes, so.
That's where
It's gonna be a
usually
little
the
bit
deal.
different, yeah.
So this is important if you're getting ready to list something, to not just go off the tax record, because that's tax records. You never know who put that in. Sometimes I've seen owners' names change on it. So the CRS system is sort of right, but not always. But it might not hurt. And most of you do measuring too, don't you? So you could have an appraiser come out and measure the house for you ahead of time, so you've got the right number on there.
What kind of notice do you need for that to happen? And what do you charge?
I mean, I can usually measure a house pretty quickly. I can usually get that within a day or two of you calling me, and I'm charging $150 for a basic house.
Yeah,
We charge-
basically the same.
We charge $150 if you want rooms separate, like
Sure.
each room out with $175.
Okay.
But with the change, it may not be a bad idea, especially on larger homes, get them measured so you know ahead of
I'm
time.
seeing a lot of agents measure before they list. I
Yeah.
mean, we're getting a lot of measurement requests before they list.
And it's
Which-
really kind of important for us because when we have to put that additional square footage on a line, the underwriter may come back and say, well, we need something similar to that in a comparable.
Yeah.
I meant they may
They're not
say,
out there.
well, we want a house similar. Is there one out there? Well, that's hard to find, to be honest. So if you get it measured and you could state something about 50%, this is all under 50% is included in a different line on that listing, then we know we've got a comparable to compare that subject with that we're doing. So it's a tricky tight
Yeah.
rope we're walking on, that whole weird under 50% of a 7-foot ceiling.
And that's, we are not experts at measuring. So I would rather have an expert tell me what the size is. So when you fill out the measurement disclaimer, you've got that on there rather than saying, I as the agent guessed, that kind of thing. Justin, question?
Yeah, I just want some clarity on the why the change in the measurement guideline. Is it just to standardize the way that measurements are taken across the board?
Yeah, they were finding that too many appraisers were doing it different, so we were, coming in so much different. So they just standardized it so that there was very little leeway for a discrepancy between the way her and I measure.
And this is government-wide, nationwide.
Yes.
So it came from on high saying this is the way it's got to be done.
And over by the donuts, I printed out, that's the Fannie Mae FAQs on why they have made this change. So that will answer that question for you.
And there's a website, I think, on there. You can order the actual standards book, which shows how we measure. I think it's what, $25 is what I think it was.
$25.
Yeah. I suggest you get this book, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you a lot of information on why we have to do it, and it actually shows examples in the book on how we have to measure homes.
Yeah. And where do you get that at again?
It's the Home Innovation Research Labs website. I can also forward the PDF of the FAQ, and it'll have a link to this website as well.
So if you're online, we can get that to you also out in the interworlds.
So what's a rule of thumb when you're looking for comparables for a home? How many plus or minus number of acres, plus or minus amount of square footage, number of beds and baths? What do you guys look for when doing that when you're doing the comparables?
It depends.
It really does depend, yeah.
Okay.
Let's say in a standard subdivision in town.
Okay, so let's take K Point as an example.
Okay.
Usually you're gonna wanna stay in K Point when you're trying to find comparable
Right.
sales. And I use that because that's pretty big subdivision that you see a lot of homes usually listed in there and sold. So we try to stay within those boundaries. You could probably step out. They actually say a mile is kind of the go-to out that you would want to be within that mile radius. If you don't have anything else in that subdivision that's sold, then we have to explain why there's nothing in that subdivision. Is it an over improvement? Is it, so we're allowed to go out a mile. You can go over that, but then you really better be explaining it when you're in cookie cutter neighborhoods, why you had to do
Right.
that.
And what we can't do is go out over a mile because there are no sales in the neighborhood to support your sales price.
Yeah.
We can't just ignore those. We have to use those if they're there. Can't go, oh, those don't make the sales price work, so we're gonna go outside the neighborhood. We can't do that.
I think
Good way to lose our license.
an important thing that just got me thinking, they want to make the deal work.
Of course.
They're trying to find whatever they can. So they're searching every way they can, but you think the government watches us, you ought to see the guidelines they're under. So they're doing everything they can to support your sales price within the guidelines they're supposed to work on. Danielle.
When you are using a time frame, what's your general time frame to use for closed sales? Just out of
It's
curiosity.
a good question, because I mean, what I'm finding right now is a lot of agents are using comps from last summer to price their houses. If I have a neighborhood that has 20 sales in it and 10 of them are within the last 90 days to 6 months, I'm gonna use those. So don't price your houses off of last summer, because it's not gonna work.
Right.
And then they're gonna, then we get the phone calls, well, why didn't you use these 3 comps? Well, they're a year old. My comps are on within 90 days. That's, I mean, we're supposed to use the most current comps that are similar to our subject.
That's the word comparable.
Comparable, sorry, yeah.
So that's there. The ideal is if they can find, if it's a 322 house, to find 3 other 322s, same square footage, same up. That's the
Quality
goal.
conditions.
And honestly, an appraisal, the main thing of it is to guarantee the bank that if you default, that they can sell it in the next 90 days. That's really what it's there for. And that's, so think of it that way, that's what it is. It's a protection thing to make sure the value's there for it. Okay, what is the step-by-step process of an appraisal? Let's say you get an order. Let's use Cape Point again. That's a pretty good similar one. That way we don't get into sheds, barns, pools, all that stuff. How do you start on one and what's the process?
Well, I know we probably all have different methods of starting.
Right.
But usually what I do is when we get an order in, that address goes in the MLS and I do a search of that particular neighborhood only, and I don't put any criterias in. I want to know where the high and I want to know what the low is automatically. And then I start narrowing that search down to similar in age, similar in room count, similar in square footage, similar lot sizes. You start narrowing your fields down at that point. Then you start probably narrowing it down a lot. And then you have, like, let's say 10 sales that compare to the one you're doing. And then you pick the most recent of those 10, 3 or 4, and put them in your report. The biggest thing I think for us is the research on it, though. I meant research, going out and measuring a house and taking the photos is not the biggest part of what we do. The research takes the longest for us to do.
What is it you have to research on it?
Well, first you got to research your subject. You have to go back and through your history. It has to be on that appraisal. It's part of the form. They want to know if it's sold in the last 3 years and how much. Some things are non-disclosed, but if you're going to government loans, sometimes the government will make them disclose that sales price, and the lenders will call us and say, hey, we need to get the sales price. So, you do that with your sales, and you research every comparable you're using. I mean, you got to research every one of those, and that goes back a 1 year on your history of, like, if it's sold within a year. I assume they want to know flipping issues and stuff, what's gone into those updates and stuff like that. But, the research is really the big thing, because you have to find that information on how old it is, has it sold, is it comparable to your subject, has it been updated, has it had no updating, and that's where it really is important for agents to tell us what is in that home on that listing. Is it updated? Tell us what the updates are, because going through the photos can be very deceiving. We all know that. You've showed homes where the house looks great, and then you get to it and it's like, oh, well, this is not as good as it looks. So
it's like a dating website
yeah,
for homes.
yeah. So it's important for us to know the updates in a house on that listing.
And we're also researching the market area. We have to define our neighborhood boundaries where that home is located. So not only are we looking at the big overall market, but we're looking at the micro market. What is happening within these boundaries or right around the area of this home? What are those statistics looking like? Are we going to need time of sale, market change adjustments, things like that? What are the trends happening there?
So when you're coming with a price for a listing, if you follow the same process, it's pretty well appraisal proof then. But Amy?
If you are representing a seller and there's some unique things about that home or the comparables and you have extra knowledge, is it helpful or beneficial for us to leave like a binder at the house with notes about why we priced our house the way that we did and what we know about these other comps?
I love any information you can provide me at the front end of things. You know, I'm happy to look up updates, you know, unique features, even sales that you considered whenever you set your price at the beginning of this process.
Don't do it in the middle.
Right.
Do it at the
It's too
beginning.
late at that point.
Well, and it's also a little bit of conflict of interest
It is.
on the fact that they think then you're trying to influence us on value. Up front,
Uh-huh.
we can see it and research it. If we're in the middle of the process and already been to the house, that's kind of a tricky little
Okay.
tightrope.
So you can make like an.
What's
appraisal.
considered a unique feature in a 322?
Lots of things. Lots of things.
Depends.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it depends on your neighborhood. It depends what the
That helps,
houses are, like on the new remodels, like in old, let's say, take the older area of Springfield, Southern Hills. So those houses didn't typically have quartz countertops, granite countertops, anything like that. Now they do, because they're remodeling them.
Let's go back to Cape Point. What's a unique feature on a 322 in Cape Point that would increase the value of the property?
That would increase the value?
Well,
Updating-
would affect the
updating-
value.
Updating the quality of it, putting your granite countertops in, putting your stainless appliances, backsplash, you know.
Those are unique features.
Remodel, yeah, in a subdivision like Cape Point, because that's not how most of those houses are.
No.
Once they remodel, they can, they do
And
that.
big features like pools. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, we're gonna see the pool, but that could be a unique feature in a subdivision for an individual home to have a pool.
Okay, we want to use that one because Cape Point has a pool.
Right.
They do.
Let's not use that one. Okay, so what's a unique feature in a bathroom for an appraiser in Cape Point?
Heated floors would be one thing. That's somebody's installed later. Are you wanting a unique feature as it was built? Are you kind of referring to that
No, I'm
part of
asking
it?
you. I just, because we do CMAs all the time. Everybody does. I mean, all 450 agents do CMAs. And like was said back there, we need to be able to say, this is a unique feature for this property versus what we're seeing in this subdivision. So that we can add value not only for the home, but for the appraiser too. So they'll know, look, we're pointing this out to you because we were instructed that this is a unique feature.
So like foam insulation.
Okay?
We typically, if it's not going to FHA, USDA, we might not even know that's in the home. Homeowner tells you, we went in and did foam insulation. That is definitely a unique feature to that home versus the other homes in the neighborhood.
And Cape Point was a very builder grade subdivision when it was developed. So any of those upgrades, like they were saying, quartz countertops,
Heated floor.
marble, heated floors, tiled showers, any of those types of upgrades that have been made are those type of features. And then things like sprinkler systems, security systems, central vacs, those things that we might miss on a walkthrough. We want to know that those items are there so we can see if they contribute to the value or not.
Let's get Amy.
So going back to Amy's question and kind of following through Jim, if we were to leave information at a home before you guys arrive to do your appraisal or your walkthrough, are there any appraisers who are going to be offended by that? Or, you guys may like it. Is everyone going to like it? Are other appraisers going to think we're trying to influence them?
I don't think that anybody's gonna think you're trying to influence them if you're just leaving facts. If you're leaving opinions, yeah, maybe.
If we leave the comparables that we used, is that not
We
an
do that all the
opinion?
time. Not, it's never offending. I'm gonna look at them, but I'm still gonna pick what I think are the best appraisals.
Right.
I'm not, best comparables. I'm not gonna necessarily use what you left me, but I'm gonna look at them.
Let's go way back.
When you're looking at these, if you're looking at a subject property or something you're comparing to and is there on average, like a certain price? Like if you have to add, one's got a 3-car versus 2, or like a half bath or a full bath you're adding or minusing, what's kind of the standard you use on that?
It's all market derived. You get that information from the market. You can do a search of 2 car garages versus 3-car. You can definitely tell the difference usually in what one is selling for versus another in a neighborhood. So that kind of gives you that. And that can vary. This last couple of years, I've seen that vary from Republic's different than Nixon, Nixon's different than Ozark, Springfield's different than all 3 on what somebody's willing to pay in the market. There's definitely a difference in that price. So there's really no set price on that, but it does vary.
Depends on the area. It's if you as an agent are trying to price a house, if if you're in a subdivision and you can find two similar houses, similar square footage, similar bedroom, bathroom count, one has a 3-car garage, one has a 2-car garage, then you can kind of do a paired analysis yourself and figure out, okay, what are the differences in this? And do those it leaves the garage, it will find the garage adjustment for you if you can find two similar houses.
New construction is always the best to find too, just FYI.
Yes.
Sam.
A unique feature that we're finding it more and more, solar panels. How do you?
I just had this issue. Very, very hard to prove there's value in them. I just did a new construction house. I'm gonna use this as an example. They custom built it. It's on 10 acres. It's ICF built, 12-inch walls. Foam insulation on 2x6 on the half upper they had with foam insulation. And then they had a $30,000 solar grid panel sitting in the field that they had paid. She said the solar company said to her, well, this adds value to your house. Because my question was she told me all this stuff was, why did you do solar? You're already so energy efficient. Your bill's going to be so low. You really probably do not need these solar panels. And she was like, you're kidding, right? And I'm like, no. I meant, have you had to turn your air on yet? And they were just moving in. She said, no. And it was very comfortable in the house. I tried to find something to support. They paid $30,000 for something like that. There was nothing in the market that supported that at all, that anybody's willing to come in and pay an extra for solar in the home. It's just not something we see in our area. And a lot of it's climate, because of our climate and stuff, they just don't produce. And then the other thing is just looking at them. I think a lot of people just don't want them. They're ugly. And so I've done a house, they actually took them off. Had to tow them to Kansas City because nobody wanted to take over the payment.
Well, and that's the thing is if they aren't, I mean, Fannie Mae doesn't allow us to value them at all if they're not owned completely.
So
If
they're
they
kind of
have a
like,
payment against them, we can't value.
are they
them.
like personal property at that
Yes,
point?
yes.
So it's not part of the actual building. Amy, then Jim.
What about swimming pools?
Yes.
So let's say, for instance, I've got a new construction home, the buyer is talking to the builder about adding a swimming pool and they want to roll it into the loan. And I told them up front, hey, appraiser's not gonna give you the dollar for dollar value on this pool, but like, how massive of a difference are we talking?
It depends on a lot. If you're a small house in a subdivision, that the value that we give that pool is gonna be a lot less. If you're a custom $1 million home with a
Jacuzzi. and all
yeah,
that.
I mean, an amazing, $200,000 pool, you're still not gonna get dollar for dollar, not anywhere close, but you're gonna get more than you are for just a regular, I mean, that's such a wide range.
But it's worth
Improving
it.
Yeah.
that pool is like something they want. It's a
Yeah.
personal need.
Yeah.
To prove that the market will support them selling that in the future and gaining all that back.
Unless you
Very,
find
very,
three other
very
comps with pools.
unlikely. I found one a few years
The
ago.
problem with that is
Every-
most of when you're talking about the high dollar homes,
Yeah.
those are custom built and they don't sell on the market.
Right.
We can't use them.
Yeah.
I mean,
So since my wife's at home watching right now, we understand we don't need a pool.
I got two questions. The first one, new roof, does that add value? You take it into account at all? Because they have to have a roof, right?
They do, and that's kind of how we look at it. You gotta have a roof.
How about new windows?
that's
You
part
gotta
of
have windows
condition.
too?
Yeah, it's part of the condition and quality, but it really doesn't add value.
All right, and then the last one, because I just want to hear your above ground pools.
Personal property.
Okay, so.
Unless it's surrounded completely by a deck. Like if it's completely surrounded by a deck, we can give it value, but it's very little.
I don't give them value.
I don't
You
either.
can, I don't.
I don't
What about privacy fences that are added? Is that dollar for dollar?
No,
Not even
ever
close.
dollar
Nothing's
for
nothing's
dollar
ever
for
dollar for
Okay.
dollar.
50%, 50 cents?
50 cents on the dollar?
Yeah. Okay,
I mean, again, we have to prove.
It's just a feature to help it sell, but it doesn't add value.
makes more sense.
We just have to extract that adjustment from the market.
And if the market, again, you gotta find homes with fences and some without to kind of see if they're all similar, and that's really hard to prove similar homes. Again, going back to new construction, if you find somebody that said we want a fence and it's added in, and then there's a difference in those prices, and you, in cookie cutter neighborhoods, then you might be able to prove that this market will pay $3,000 or $5,000 more for that fence versus the one that didn't have the fence. And I say that because new construction is always the easiest to prove these things, because it's right off the cost of what's in the market right now.
Is there something with this information on it? Because when we go to listing appointments and we have sellers that say, I have a brand new fence, I got new windows, I got a new roof, and we tell them.
I got above ground pool.
And I have an above ground pool. It'd be helpful if we could say, this is from the appraisers. And so they actually believe it versus me saying, well, we had an appraisal panel there today, and this is what they said. Is there something like that?
Well, and is there a standard for it too? Or is it gonna be like, well, it depends on who we hire. They might give you value for your fence, but this one, you know, like.
That's a good point, because an appraisal is an opinion of value.
Yeah.
That is what it is, it is our opinion. Her opinion may be different than mine. I mean.
So are there guidelines for like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, this fence, privacy fences do add value, or yes, this, or there's not?
No guidelines on stuff like that. We have a lot of guidelines, but that is not the guidelines.
Bethany.
I went to your panel a couple months ago, and I've slept since then, but I vaguely remember you guys talking about two things that were helpful for you guys is like that list of like upgrades and stuff, that we could even add that on as a private document on the MLS. And then also you talked about room counts and like those things and how those, like what we put in the MLS helps
it's
you
broken down.
guys.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk on that, on the
Yeah.
number of rooms and that kind of stuff.
So when you list your property on the appraisal, you notice there's an above grade and below grade. We have to break those rooms out on that form. So it's very helpful for us if you say we have a 4 bedrooms up, 2 bathrooms, 2.5 baths, and, you know, a dining room, maybe even a family room. And then in the basement, we've got 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a family room, a rec room, theater room. I mean, it's helpful for us to know because we have to put that on the appraisal report. Or we might be calling you.
And not for the house they're appraising, because I was at that panel too, not for the house they're appraising right then, they're gonna walk through that one, it's for the comparables they're trying to use.
So can you add, what is considered above grade? For example, on a split level, what's determined above grade, below grade?
Nancy has changed this a little.
Okay,
Nancy says if any amount of the area is below grade, if an inch of that area is below grade.
It's below grade.
so does that mean below front door? Is that? what
Yeah,
you-
basically, yeah,
Anything
you can
below
take
grade,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good, that's a
So,
good,
so if it's a split level and it goes down from front door.
even if
that's
it's only
below
2
grade.
inches under the ground, it's still considered a basement.
Even if it's
We
walk.
used to be able to,
walkout.
Yes.
we used to be able to make that determination ourselves and call it what we want. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's basement.
And this binder that we've talked about briefly, if we create it as we're like making the listing live, right? Is that the best way to keep us out of a influence of value and just facts? So I say I pull the comps at the time that I'm listing it and I put it in this binder sitting on the table the day you guys come. You can choose to look through it or not. Is that the best way to keep myself free and clear?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Amy,
This may be as much a question for Jim and Dawn as anyone, but the team I used to work for, we would create a features and upgrades list, and we did put that in the listing as a document, kind of as a marketing tool. But then Bethany just used the word private, so then I'm wondering,
Whether it's
Should we-
private and public, you can make the choice.
but I mean, why would we not just make it public as
Should
marketing?
make all the documents public, in my opinion, but that's up to you. You can do it
Okay, so
either
there's
way.
no reason to make it private.
so it used to be everything was private because you had to have your agent get it and send it to you through a PDF or fax it to you. And then they made the public thing. I just put disclosures, everything public.
Okay.
Because they need to find it anyway. So on the feature list, that's part of my listing presentation. I go to somebody and say, what do you love about your home? They give me the list for my marketing remarks. So ask them what's important on there. So Jim?
Yeah, I wanted to ask too, how do you value above grade versus below grade? And I know the 1 inch rule, I just heard that, so I understand that. But what's the difference? Is it, we're gonna give $100 a square foot, let's say, on above grade, let's just use that as a number, just because it's easy, 100. Then are you giving $50 a square foot for basement, even if it's completely finished, if it's considered underground by 1 inch? Is there a standard in ANSI there?
That's depending on the market. That's market extracted.
And ANSI doesn't tell us how to value that below grade.
It's just telling
It's-
us what is considered below grade. And then just like any other feature, it's our job to go through and extract from the market how much value that is contributing.
So if
we- But
I'm
I-
going off the comps, so
Yeah.
9-foot ceilings versus 8, you're not gonna go, this has more value, that has less value.
Right. Well, I think that's a real hard, like, when you
Yes,
take
yeah.
somebody to the house to show them a house, have you ever heard somebody say, oh, we got 9-foot ceilings, this one, we'll pay more? That's what we have to look at. Do you really have people actually look at that thing and say they want to pay more just because of ceiling heights?
They may
There's
want it,
probably
they
other
might get more,
features
but
they're
they're not gonna
looking
pay
at.
more, right?
We're running short on time. I want to get to one more thing, and I think this is important as we're doing listings. What things do we need to put into a listing that helps with the appraisals on, like when it becomes a comp or something else? What things, I know there's some things now required that we got to have in, but what other things should we put in that really help you add more value to other homes?
This is, go ahead. Well, I'm gonna start a little bit off of what he's saying on what not to do. FHA, VA, USDA, please don't put that they can go, that they are FHA, USDA, or VA, that financing is available when it's not. Because so many deals get killed we go in, the seller's not willing to do any repairs. It's built in 1975, the whole house needs to be scraped, primed, and painted because of FHA standards, and then it's dead, and then everybody's mad at us. We don't make the rules, we just
Have to abide by the rules.
So, yeah, so that's what not to do. You go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like we said before, breaking down those rooms by level, so we know what rooms are there.
Yes.
Accurate square footage is a big thing,
How to read that square footage in Christian County is a huge thing,
Yes.
Yes.
just FYI.
It is,
Yeah.
and if you can have an appraiser measure it, and attach that in your documents. So when we go there, we can look at that, and we have the rooms, we have the square footage. That's a dream.
And
Right
like
on that Christian
outbuildings, list those on the listing, put those things on there. How big is it? 20 by 40, 60 by 100? I mean, we need to know those things, because if I'm praising one that I have an outbuilding, let's say mine's a Morton built outbuilding, we know those cost a lot more in the market. So what do you have in your outbuilding? Heat, air? Yeah. Does it have water? I meant, you've got electricity. Is it on concrete or is it dirt floors? I meant, there's so many things about an outbuilding. When you just say outbuilding on the property, that doesn't tell us anything. And normally there's not even a photo half the time of the outbuilding.
And
So,
if it's a shed, call it a shed, not an
yeah,
outbuilding.
don't call it an
Because we
outbuilding.
search for outbuildings a lot. I use that search a lot when I'm on acreage with large outbuildings. And they come up and there's like a 5x5 shed. No, that's not an outbuilding.
There's a software program on the MLS, it's called Flow Plan. Have you seen that? You like it, dislike it?
I looked at it when I first noticed that icon come up and kind of sat through the tutorial. I watched the tutorial on it. I did not see where that was generating square footage. It was just what I could
It's just
see,
a
it
floor
just
plan.
generates the floor plan. So I mean, that's helpful, if those rooms are labeled, so then we at least have a room layout.
But it'd be better to do the appraiser and then with you going out and doing a measurement for somebody, what kind of time frame? So if I called you today and said, I want you to do a floor plan for me or measure the house for me, how long would that, how far are you out, do you think?
Day or two.
48 hours.
I mean, usually, if you call me in the morning and say I've got one, and let's say I'm actually in Nixa, I could say, can I get in it today? I'm gonna be in Nixa, I'll go measure it.
Because there's no
So-
research on that, it's just measuring.
It's just
it.
measuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the land and say it's got an old barn on it. Depending on condition, it's still pretty good. How do you do like price figuring that on something like an old barn or?
Find a land sale with an old barn or a shed, and then versus the vacant land, and if there's a difference.
Trying to find another.
Right.
Probably go
So that's
outside
why
a
it's
mile.
important to have everything on that listing. You can possibly tell us about barns, outbuildings, in-ground pools, the various things that's there. I mean, if we don't have the photos, which I look at photos constantly, I mean, photos are very important, especially of the back of the house. There's a lot of times we don't even see the back of the house, but then we know what you've got, like a deck, it's covered, screened in. I mean, we know by that photo, we can tell. So photos are really important to have everything to document
So you're
what
basically,
we're actually seeing.
you're basically on the listing, fill out as much as you
Yes.
can.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The type of furnace, the.
Absolutely.
high efficiency.
Lagoons, septics, wells, are they shared? Are they not? I mean, all that is very important to us.
And things like making sure you indicate if it's an earth berm, put it in as a berm. You know, if you have an ICF home, put in the green features that it's an ICF home.
Because that's
so
how we
can
search.
Search those features. We now have a Schaus barndominium category.
Oh, that would be great if you put them in that. Because, you know, when we go to search for something, again, the underwriters are looking for us to have something similar. So if we don't have a berm home and there's only like, let's say we did a search in the area and we've gone 20 miles and we found 2, we at least have to have 3 to even complete the appraisal at that point. And the underwriter may come back if you used let's say you use a ranch, you've got to figure out that quality difference. Is somebody willing to pay different? I mean, because you don't have anything at all, they may come back and say, hey, you still have to have another earth burn.
Can you guys tell everybody out here, because realtors go to school for 72 hours. And then they're licensed to sell anything in the state of Missouri, residential or commercial. Tell them how long it takes you to become an appraiser.
So first of all, you either have to have a college degree, an associate's degree, or 30 credit hours of certain college courses.
Okay.
From then, we have to take, is it
50 course hours.
50, something like that, course hours.
around 50 course hours outside of that. And then we have to do an apprenticeship. for
2 years
2
typically.
years, yeah.
2 years.
1,500 hours.
And then we have to
1,500
pass the state
And
certification
then we
test,
have to
which
pay
is,
this.
I mean, I know yours is hard. Ours is also very hard.
Well, my point is this, the next time you start complaining about an appraiser, they've got a heck of a lot more background training and mentorship than you do. You know, 72 hours, and now you can sell the world, or you gotta go 2 years before you get.
Well, and 2 years of mentoring under somebody is, I mean, it's really helpful, I think. Once I went through it, I understood why we had to do it, because you learn so much. The nice thing with our appraisal committee, that's part of the GSBOR, we can call each other up and say, hey, I've got an issue. How would you handle this? I mean, there's a comfort level there too from our peers. Maybe they've handled a situation we haven't. And so you're like trying to get feedback on how they handle something. I know that came up with your office recently. And so, you know, it's like, you still are mentoring through the whole thing, I think, amongst your peers.
We use our
on
peers
various
a
things.
lot in the appraisal industry.
I just
because-
wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Am I missing something on leaving that packet at the house for you guys to see when you come through versus just emailing that to you?
Oh, you can email it to us,
You
but
can.
you can email it, but email it at the beginning of the process.
Yeah, okay. I
Don't
didn't
wait
know if there
until,
was
yeah.
something.
Yeah, don't wait until we've
magical,
gone and
ethical,
measured
or
it and come back to
otherwise.
the office.
Okay.
We need it
We
up
don't
front.
typically know the appraiser until, we're never told the appraiser's name.
Which is why it's probably better to leave it at the house.
And it doesn't even have to be in a packet form. I mean, it could be like the 4 comps just printed, or you could write the addresses down and say, these were the comps that I considered when I priced this home. And that's all you have to say.
And then something typed out with the updates that have been done.
Yeah, updates, a homeowner can do that themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, you can have them list those and lay them there on the kitchen countertop somewhere.
And
That's great to know.
if you're the listing agent, I am hoping the appraiser is reaching out to you before visiting that property.
schedule.
Are they
To
not?
schedule.
Yeah,
Usually, but you know, that's why the dates are in the contract for us to extend the appraisal period from, it's defaults to 25 days.
Right.
And a 45-day closing, you're not getting there before 25 days. Typically, no offense to you, it's just not happening. Where we see the appraisal come in is like that last 10 to 14 days. And even if we ask for it to be done earlier, if we talk to the lender and say, hey, can we get this done earlier? We've got it scheduled for X and it's out there somewhere. So that's the reason and again, we don't know who the appraiser is or anything. So we don't see it coming in the first 20 days.
If
I
you're the
guarantee
listing
that.
agent and an appraiser isn't contacting you for entry, that, I mean, they should be contacting you for entry.
Yeah,
They're
but it's 40 days in.
Well, now that could be a lender issue.
Yeah.
A lot of those third-party
AMC.
AMCs, they hold on to those and then they'll send them and they'll be like, well, we need a rush now. They've had it for 20 days or more, sitting there waiting to
I
order.
thought it was the lenders.
It's not necessarily the lenders, it's the AMCs,
What's an AMC?
appraisal management companies. that
And
were-
they
were-
use those.
Yeah.
The
And they
barrier
use
in
them.
between to keep us protected.
Yes.
Not all companies use them, a lot of companies do though. And we're all filtering that information through that AMC. I mean, we don't even have a choice. We don't even know who the loan officers are. We just know the lender.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So let me hear 2 action items from what you've learned today.
I'm gonna go get that book.
Blame the lender.
Blame the lender.
Don't blame the lender.
All right.
I'm not saying don't blame
So
you guys are
leave,
not.
get the binder or leave the info. And I've seen a couple people online ask for the PDF, so we'll get that sent to you all too.
As a reminder, all of this will be recorded and put onto our YouTube channel if you want to go back and rewatch.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.